In the year 892, a Viking warlord rode home from a battle he had just won, with his enemy's severed head strapped to his saddle as a trophy. On the ride home, the head killed him. The severed head killed him. He is the only warrior in recorded history to lose a fight to a man he had already beheaded. And on today's list, that only gets him to number 4. These are the 5 most embarrassing deaths in history, counted down, plus one bonus so good I don't care that it's fake. Everything else in this video is true and verifiable, which is honestly the upsetting part. History did all the work. Number 5. Sweden, 1771. King Adolf Fredrik sits down to his Fat Tuesday dinner. Quick context. The Parliament ran Sweden, and when the king refused to sign documents, they had a rubber stamp of his signature. They just stamped it, legally. So dinner was basically his entire kingdom. That night, he committed lobster, caviar, smoked herring, sauerkraut, champagne. Then dessert. A semla, a sweet bun filled with almond cream, floating in a bowl of hot milk. Delicious, dense. 1 is plenty. The king had 14 servings of bun soup on top of everything else. A few hours later he collapsed, and by that night the king was dead. Now, historians will tell you he was 60. It was probably a stroke, and the buns were, at most, accessories. Doesn't matter. Sweden took a vote. He's been the king who ate himself to death for 250 years. His son, for the record, was assassinated at a masked ball. Operatic, dramatic, dignified. Nobody cares. Dad had the buns. In his defense, when your own government overrules you with a rubber stamp, dessert is the only vote you have left. He cast 14. Number 4. Scotland, the year 892. Time for the full story of the head. This is Sigurd Eysteinsson, Earl of Orkney, known professionally as Sigurd the Mighty. And you don't get called the Mighty for coming second. Sigurd was conquering his way down mainland Scotland when he ran into a local ruler with the incredible name of Maelbrigte, the buck-toothed. Sigurd challenged him to a formal, honourable battle. 40 men against 40 men. Maelbrigte brought 40 men. Sigurd brought 80. And because he was a cheater with attention to detail, he mounted them 2 to a horse, so that from a distance the count would check out. Maelbrigte counted the horses, decided everything looked fair, and charged. The battle went the way math goes. Sigurd won, cut off Maelbrigte's head, and strapped it to his saddle as a trophy, which was considered tasteful at the time. And then he rode home, mighty, victorious, and with every step the head bounced gently against his bare leg, and on every bounce one large, famous, protruding tooth scratched him. A tiny scratch. Vikings don't notice scratches. The scratch got infected. The infection spread, and Sigurd the Mighty died, beaten by a man with no body, no pulse, and 1 tooth. That's what the saga says anyway, and the saga writers loved this ending. To them, it was the market rate for cheating at an honourable duel. Maelbrigte won a 40 versus 80 battle. He just had to be dead first. And if losing to a corpse stings, number 3 managed to lose to a building. Specifically to the one part of it he wasn't testing. Number 3. Toronto, Friday evening, July 9th, 1993. This is Gary Hoy, corporate lawyer, 24th floor, genuinely beloved. Gary had a party trick. He would tell visitors the boardroom glass was unbreakable and then prove it by throwing himself at it. Full sprint, shoulder first, And it worked, every time, for years. The glass flexed, Gary bounced, the new hires screamed, and Gary straightened his tie like a magician. Dozens of attempts, 0 incidents. That Friday, the firm was throwing a party for law students, and Gary lined up the signature move one more time. First run, a perfect bounce. The students lost their minds. So, obviously, he went again. And I need to be precise here because Gary was right. The glass did not break. The glass has, to this day, technically never lost. The frame quit instead. The entire window popped out of the building in one piece with Gary still attached. 24 floors. The glass landed intact. Not a scratch on it. Gary died proving a completely true fact. He just never asked the frame how it felt about the arrangement. Gary's firm, 90 lawyers, one of Toronto's most respected, never really recovered. 3 years later, it closed its doors for good. The frame outlasted everybody. Number 2 never touched a window in his life. He was too busy terrorizing both halves of the Roman Empire, which made his cause of death very awkward to announce. Number 2. The year 453. Attila the Hun. Resume check. He burned his way across Europe for 20 years, and Rome paid him more than £2,000 of gold a year, essentially a subscription to not show up. No army on earth ever managed to kill him. His own nose handled it instead. In 453, Attila got married. Historians have lost count of which wife this was. Her name was Ildiko, and the wedding feast was enormous. The most feared man alive celebrated accordingly. He drank like a man with nothing scheduled ever again, which turned out to be accurate, and passed out flat on his back. During the night, his nose started to bleed. That's the entire event. He was too unconscious to roll over. The man no empire could stop choked on his own nosebleed. On his wedding night, his warriors broke down the door the next morning, and the account says they were so ashamed, no wound, no enemy, no battle, that they cut their own faces with their swords, so the greatest warrior on earth would be mourned with the blood of men instead of tears, which is a genuinely metal response to what is, medically, a nap accident. They buried him in 3 nested coffins, iron, silver, and gold, and then, the legend says, killed the entire burial party, so no one could ever find the grave. HR was different then. Historians still argue the details, but the version his own people wrote down is nosebleed. When the most flattering available version of your death is nosebleed, that is the version you were dealt. And still, that man only takes silver, because number 1 managed to die embarrassingly and win a court case by doing it. Number 1, Ohio, June 1871. A defense lawyer named Clement Vallandigham. Some background because the theme of this man's entire life was total commitment. During the Civil War, he was so loudly anti-Lincoln that Lincoln had him arrested and deported to the Confederacy. They banished a sitting Ohio politician out of the United States. He responded by running for governor of Ohio, from exile, in Canada. He lost, but the audacity was noted. Then he snuck back into the country in disguise and everyone sort of let it slide. That's the man. Now the case. Vallandigham is defending Thomas McGeehan, accused of shooting a man named Tom Myers during a saloon brawl. The defense theory: nobody shot Myers. Myers shot himself by accident drawing his own pistol while getting up from a crouch. Bold theory, very hard to picture, which was exactly the problem. The jury would need to see it. So one evening in his hotel room, Vallandigham gathered the other defence lawyers to rehearse. On the table were 2 pistols, the unloaded one for practising, and a loaded one. You are already ahead of him. He picked up a pistol, put it in his pocket, knelt, rose, drew, and shot himself, exactly the way he'd argued the victim had. His theory was correct, instantly, demonstrably, fatally correct. He reportedly said, "My God, I've shot myself," which, as last words go, is at least a very clear summary of the incident. He died the next morning, and the demonstration worked. The jury heard what happened, found the theory suddenly extremely plausible, and McGeehan ultimately walked free. Clement Vallandigham remains the only lawyer known to have won a murder case by performing the fatal accident on himself. Lincoln couldn't stop him. Exile couldn't stop him. He was finally defeated by his own closing argument. One bonus round. It's ancient legend rather than verified fact. I'm including it anyway, you'll see why. Greece, around 456 BC. Aeschylus, the father of tragedy, the man credited with more or less inventing drama. Also, and this is the load-bearing fact, magnificently bald. The story goes that a prophecy had warned him he would die by a falling object. So Aeschylus sensibly started spending his days outdoors. Open fields, no roofs, nothing to fall on him. Airtight plan. Now, eagles eat tortoises. Their method is to carry them up high and drop them on rocks to crack the shell. Great system, one known bug. From altitude, a gleaming bald head reads as a rock. So an eagle doing everything right dropped a tortoise directly onto the head of the father of tragedy. The legend says it killed him instantly. He walked into an open field to dodge a prophecy about falling objects, and the sky ordered a bird to airmail him a tortoise. The tortoise, in most tellings, was fine. Is it true? Almost certainly not. Did the man who invented dramatic irony die of dramatic irony? I choose to believe. So, what have we learned? Stop at 13 buns, check your trophies for teeth, ask about the frame, sleep on your side, let the defendant hold the gun, and wear a hat. Because the real moral is, history doesn't care what you achieved. It remembers the funniest thing that ever happened to you. Plan accordingly. Subscribe. It's the one button in this entire story that does exactly what you expect.